And I watch so many women allow these men to play with their lives.
As someone who also spent a lifetime choosing myself and choosing my happiness and choosing my peace, women like us often don't understand the wiring of women who choose a constant cycle of abuse, of neglect, who continues to choose men that abuse them, that lie to them, that cheat on them, that have babies on them, that help create a miserable life. And do you see often what those women do? They make more choices to entangle themselves deeper in that situation. Let them go. Majority of women will always blame the world programs us, the world conditions us. At what point? And there is always a point where there are no more excuses. None. There is a moment in our lives, most of the time when we are young, and that is designed on purpose because I fundamentally believe humanity is extremely flawed. I mean, children can get pregnant. Humanity has an extremely design flaw, extremely difficult design flaw. But there's a pivotal moment in all of our lives. Think back on your life because I remember the exact moment when we decide to make choices in this life. It opens up a ripple of an infinite amount of additional choices that you can make. But when you are young, often there is a moment in time where you have two choices. Two choices is a lot of fucking pressure because those two choices only give you about two paths that you can take. And every choice between those two choices, it can send you on a trajectory that makes it more and more difficult to come back from. This is what these women are doing. Every time these women make a choice that digs them deeper into a hole, women will be getting abused, get cheated on, get pregnant, and keep the baby. Sabotage. And then they'll blame conditioning. We all been conditioned. When you are young, it is at that moment that you choose the grand trajectory of your life. For me, that was at around between 18 and 19 years old. Specifically 19. I was raised in an extremely religious household, extremely patriarchal. My parents are actively extremely religious. This is why I keep a lot of distance and time between them. When you are young, you are extremely malleable. You are extremely susceptible to conditioning and programming. And that is why I believe humanity is extremely flawed in design inherently. And it's just facts. At this point, it's not even a belief. There is no excuse why a 9-year-old should have the ability to get pregnant, why her body should have the ability to carry a baby. None. The universe allows it because the universe does not care about the confinements of human morality. What time in your life, what was that pivotal moment? This is something every woman, every person really, but particularly every woman, scan through your life. Most of the time, this decision, in my opinion, is probably in your teenage years where you choose the grand trajectory your life would go. My parents were so heavily religious and so heavily patriarchal. My entire life, I was bombarded with programming about men being the superior beings, men being the leaders, men to the point where my parents did not even let me go to college initially. They didn't let me go to university initially, and that was something I always wanted to do since I was a little girl. I didn't identify with the moms and the kids and the white picket fence and the husband in the movies. I identified with the woman in the penthouse living by herself, driving a luxury vehicle. That's what I identified with. I didn't identify with the mom with 2 kids and a dog and a picket fence in the suburbs. No. But our parents often see, of course, we're babies. We don't know any better. So the adults around you will see your light and they will try to stifle it. Maybe they don't know they're trying to stifle your light. They think that they're trying to help you get to heaven. But there comes a time. So my parents wouldn't let me go away to college, and I turned my life inside out, upside down, because I was so angry and so depressed. Now, at the time, I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I was extremely self-destructive because I was angry that they were clipping my wings, that they were stopping my dreams. But I chose anyway. My parents forced me to go to a 2-year college, which I never wanted to do. But as a kid, as an 18-year-old, as a 17, I graduated from high school 17. As a 17-year-old, what choice did I have, right? I was fully dependent on my parents. It's like, oh, well, we'll let you go. Because my parents fundamentally believe you are supposed to leave your house, start having babies, and then have kids. So I remember my parents trying to compute. Your parents are human. Your parents are people raising kids for the first time. I remember my parents having discussions about whether they were righteous or unrighteous. These people believed that they could possibly go to hell if they let me go to college because of what that fucking Bible said. They are people. So I released them from the anger and all of that. Doesn't even need to be a conversation anymore. But I released them because now I step into my power. I don't sit around and blame my parents. I take my fucking power back. If that means creating time and distance between my parents, if that means never seeing them, never showing up for holidays, never showing up for birthdays, that is what you get. That is your punishment. It would be a punishment on me to harbor that kind of anger to the point where I'm making my life miserable. This is what women do. They don't want men to, I done been with him this whole time and fixed and repair him, even though you still fucking miserable. And I don't want another woman to get all my work. That's ego. That ain't nothing about that man. This is what women do. There comes a point in your life. Think about when that point was where you made a huge decision. Mine was to turn my life inside out so bad that my parents had no choice but to let me do what I wanted to do. I was in love with a boy. During those 2 years, I was in community college. And I had to choose myself. I broke my own heart. I cried many tears. I cried and I took my black ass to college. And I even called him while I was in college. That was the moment. That was me choosing myself. At 19 years old, a time in your life where you are one of the most vulnerable moments in young adulthood, from teenagehood to young adulthood. Life is a setup. It's not fair. We all are conditioned. Stand the fuck up. Because those of us who choose ourselves, those of us, had I chose that other option, had I chose that man, that would have completely altered my life. And I knew that at 19. I sat in my car at 19 years old at my job. And I said, if I choose him, I'm going to end up in Bumblefuck, North Carolina, pregnant. I'm going to be stuck. I'm going to be trapped, and it's going to ruin my life. And I knew that because I liked him too much. Make the hard choice. Teach your children how to not follow the crowd, how to listen to their intuition. I cried a long time over that choice, but I cried and I did what I had to do. Had I not made that choice at 19. So when women don't make the hard choices, the sooner you make the choice, the easier it is to make. Had I stayed, it would have gotten increasingly harder. Let them go. This grace is not for women. Women will always find an excuse to stay in hell. This grace is for you. Save yourself.